Welcome to another edition of Pants Optional. It's Pop Code HQ's Zoom interview segment where we chat with comic book creators and talk about their latest projects and get the lowdown from the waist up. We have a special Kickstarter Spotlight edition today. Today, I'm honored to be speaking with writer, artist, colorist, letter, cover artist. He's an all-around creator. David Barron, a 25-plus year veteran in the business who's worked for publishers like DC Comics, Image, Wildstorm, Oni Press, a lot with Valiant Entertainment during their 2010 decade relaunch. Probably know on such titles as Green Arrow Year One, The Batman Who Laughs, Bloodshot Reborn. He had a hit sci-fi series with 451 Media Group, Stained, which is going to see a second volume, Stained Finders Keepers, debut next year in 2022. And his next project, the one we're talking about today, is The Cobblestone Chronicles, Michael versus the Babysitters, a 72-page full-color graphic novel by David and collaborator Elisa Wiki. Please welcome David Barron. David.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Hey, great to connect with you, man. And it's been nice talking with you offline and in our emails. I know we're going to be able to connect up. It looks like we're going to be able to connect up a couple of times in person later this year. So not only Comic-Con Revolution Ontario, but San Diego Special Edition. So
yeah, I can't wait to get back to the shows. They're going to be fun to not only see you and all my friends, but all the fans that it's been 2 years since the last one. My first show back will be New York Comic-Con in October, just a couple of weeks away. That was, funny enough, my last show before the pandemic hit.
Okay. Yeah, that fantastic show. I'm curious to see how they do with the layout there. I know the Javits Centers can be kind of wacky in construction, and now if they kind of implement any social distancing and stuff like that. Just like with San Diego with their special edition Thanksgiving weekend, I know what's going to be I'm really curious to see is it's definitely going to be toned down without Hollywood and all the satellite places for the movie and TV industry. It's going to be more just like an old school Comic-Con. So it's going to be really cool to see how they have that laid out too.
Yeah, San Diego is my local show. So I've been going to San Diego Comic-Con. That's where I got discovered all those years ago. If it's smaller, it might remind me back to those days, and who knows, I might actually enjoy it a lot more. So I'm actually really looking forward to San Diego Special Edition. I think it's going to be great.
I think so too. Yeah, I was fortunate to be there in 2019, their last one, for the 50th anniversary. But my time before that was like the 15th anniversary when it was like in a hotel or something. It was just a comic convention, long boxes, and so I mean, really grown. But it's nice. It's going to see that. Nice to see that pulled back version, and little more comic focused, and comic creators. And I know a lot of people are itching to get out there. Hey, let's get right into this. So I got to take an early look at Michael versus the Babysitters. I got to say, this is such a fun, it's zany animated book that literally had me smiling from page one through the end. It's the colors pop. It's just a fun YA book that it kind of relived a little bit about my childhood. I remember the days and growing up in the 80s that, we didn't have the internet and TV was not much of anything even, you play with your friends, you reading Encyclopedia Brown. So you kind of got that little detective stuff going. And I got a little bit of that with in this. But I don't think what I can really say can do it justice in describing the book. What's kind of the synopsis or overall gist of this latest chronicle of yours?
So I think you described it perfectly. I mean, it's a laugh per page type of book. It's designed with the reader in mind to make them smile. And if you're an older person reading the book, you remember your childhood. I mean, and by older, I mean high school and up. You remember your experiences with babysitters and how your imagination kind of ran wild. If you are younger, like my son or his friends, you are experiencing it with him. And so you are relating one-on-one with him in a very real-time manner. So either way, you're going on an adventure with Michael. Michael lives in the town of Cobblestone. It's a just every type of cul-de-sac type of town in any part of America. It takes place in Cobblestone, but overall it's an action adventure comedy, detective story. It's a little bit of everything. You're going to follow Michael, who is being watched by his babysitters, and he hates being watched by his babysitters.
He's at that age.
Yeah, because he's at that age now where he doesn't want to be made fun of, and he's too old to be watched by a babysitter. But in reality, he has his favorite babysitters. He has a lot of fun with his babysitters. So he allows it, type of thing without too much, huffing and puffing. But he gets a new babysitter. And in this book, his new babysitter is a little bit off, I will say. There's something up with his babysitter. I'm a big fan of a lot of the 80s movies. One of my favorite movies is The Burbs. And
Tom Hanks?
With Tom Hanks, yes. And in that movie, his neighbor seemed off to him. And it's kind of in that type of fun enjoyment. And so he's going to find out what's going on. And he's going to take his, detective kit. He's going to take his, ninja training. He's going to take his, stealth maneuvers, and he's going to go find out what's happening with this babysitter and the rest of the babysitters in the town of Cobblestone. So it's a fun story. For me as a writer, when I wrote it, it was so enjoyable. For Elisa, the artist, with drawing it, she was laughing as she was drawing it. When I was coloring it and lettering it and designing it, I was also laughing as I was doing it. There's something about when I give the book to some of my friends, and some are like big, strong, tough guys, and they're just sitting there reading the book, laughing nonstop. It's super rewarding, because that is the point of the book. I mean, the point is, look, we're in a pandemic. It was written and drawn during the pandemic. It was inspired by dinners with my son and wife during the pandemic, of talking about things that we missed, and he missed babysitters. And so there was all these different parts of it that created this book. But the book is designed to make you smile, to make you happy, to let you go on a worry-free adventure, and to enjoy it.
And yeah, people, you'll pick up on that real quick. The artwork inside, I mean, it really reminded me of a lot of these shows or books or comics or anything like I remember Ed, Ed and Eddie on Nickelodeon, and Bob's Burgers, where it's not, not these truly defined, but that's kind of part of the allure of it, that it's just kind of wacky look, and it's kind of all over the place, and it's a real fun read, and
We
yeah, the
lo-
colors just pop.
Yeah, the art, we love to describe Elisa's work as noodly. We like when we talked about the design and with her work, that the characters are rubber. It's very, take a spaghetti, string of pasta, throw it on the ground, and that's an arm shape. Everything has
Right.
a lot of motion. For a 2D book, there's a lot, as you said earlier in the open, there's a lot of animation in this book. There's a lot that you can just see coming to life on the page, whether it's through the coloring or just the artwork, and everything combined. There's so much so much expression. Elisa hit every key moment perfectly, of the expression and the feeling that we all have as children and adults. I mean, even adults headed off to work, or pumping gas. I mean, all these different things, the emotions there, and it's just beautiful. It's so much fun. It's such a positive read.
It is through. And like I said, I was smiling the whole way. It was really enjoyable. And so people know, so this is written, colored, and lettered by you. And Lisa provides the artwork on the book. You two really definitely seem to have a real chemistry. And it was great hearing, your story about when you first met her at a show, and how you guys connected. What's it like working with her on these stories, and bringing her into this, what kind of blossomed out of you and your son's kind of relationship amidst this pandemic and these stories, and how'd she become that perfect choice to bring these chronicles to life?
So Lisa and I met at Phoenix Comic Con many years ago. I was walking the artist alley with another professional friend of mine, another writer that lives in Arizona, and we walked around, and he goes, "Oh, I want to, go say hi to Elisa," where they met at a show in Texas. And I think it was a show in San Antonio. She lives in Austin. And I said, "Sure, let's go say hi." And I was instantly in love with her artwork. She was doing this thing at the time called Ron a Day. It's a Ron Swanson drawing from Parks and Rec, of anybody that you want. So you can have a Batman Ron Swanson. You can have, for me, I had an Emma from Stained Ron Swanson. You can have a Darth Vader Ron Swanson, which I also own. And by any character you think of. So she would turn into a Ron Swanson. And it was always just so, there was something that I just thought was so cute and adorable and energizing about her artwork. And so instantly, we became friends. We talked, we hung out, we've had dinners, we've gone to other shows, and instantly say, "Hey, what are you doing at the show?" We go back to Phoenix all the time. "Hey, what are you doing after the show?" And so we just became friends over the years. And after Stained came out, I was talking with her and I just said, "Would you ever want to work with me?" And she goes, "Oh, yeah, absolutely." And I said, people say that all the time, even good friends, they say that all the time. And so I said, "Okay, it won't happen quick. We're going to wait for the perfect project," because her art's a little bit different than most of my previous work. This is a little bit different than, what I'm known for. Now, it's not uncommon for me to dive into the YA through DC Comics and through my art directing with Cryptozoic Entertainment. I've done a lot of, these type of books. I was one of the editors on Lookouts for Penny Arcade at Cryptozoic Entertainment for that book. So it was, so this is not out of the normal for me. Pandemic hits, we're sitting at the dinner table. My son's, saying, "The only thing I really miss, Dad, because him and I are really close, our whole family is, and we still do almost everything, during the pandemic at our house, we're a version of it." And he said, "The only thing I miss is being watched by my babysitters, who are always fun, energetic students." My wife's a teacher. And so we had like this just, surplus of very fun and, outgoing babysitters. And even people that don't normally babysit want to babysit our son for all the fun things that they do together. And it's like, and we're like, why do you miss it? Well, they play, this with me, they play that with me. And my wife, I believe, was the one that said, all you do is beat them up. All you do. I won't even play lightsabers with him anymore because all he does is hit my hands, with the lightsaber. And so we play it with your babysitter, play it with Savannah, play it with, Gracie, things like that. And so we joked that it was like Michael versus the babysitters. And then we kind of just kept talking, I said, that would make a really good book. And we kind of like right then and there kind of plotted out, is this an idea that's just an idea, or is this an idea that is actually a story? And a story started coming to me, and then a real world started building right then and there. I told them, I go, you know what? This would be a perfect for Elisa, and my family knows her work and stuff like that. And it's like, I got to call her right now. I literally left the dinner table, called her up, and said, I got an idea for us finally. And she goes, okay, hit me with it. And I pitched it to her, and I was so excited. And as I was pitching it to her, she was right on the same page instantly. She was already throwing in, great puns of what the world is. And then from there, I said, okay, you're into it, I'm into it, I'm going to write the script. I wrote the script really quickly because it was so much fun. Everything was so natural to me. It developed really quickly. And then we got to, again, she got to see the script. We did a read through, we got to talk, and we said, we started developing. There's a whole botany undertone to this whole book where plants will take a major role throughout the series. And all this has been developed between her and I through phone calls and just talking. And as ideas go back and forth, when I see her art, we get re-inspired. Almost everything in the book is planted. No pun intended on that one in terms of the botany, but so there are different things that come back. So like you'll see some dish gloves on the kitchen counter early in the preview. Those dish gloves come back. You'll see a couple other little things that I won't say for spoilers, but they come back. And so there's been a lot of thought, and I think that's another reason why all ages really enjoy it, is that if you are an educated reader or experienced reader, you will appreciate all the little twists and turns and details that we throw into each page. Even being a YA book, they're all in there. It's in there to definitely be great on the reread, and they're in there just to hit experienced readers on the first read as well.
Yeah, and I think what really brought it home for me to really touch me and make me think of my childhood is, we live in an age now where internet's available anywhere, kids have phones, everything's, and this really brought it back down to how childhood was, where that world is small. It's your neighborhood, it's your family. And then, it brought it like in this case, to the cul-de-sac, to, that it's just, that's what it is. This is their world. It's not this huge, you can be all over the place. And this was everything, so yeah, it's going over your buddies. Hey, come up to the fort, up to the tree fort. And hey, did you see this? And that was kind of, you kind of just gossip with your friend. So yeah, it's really great that these emotions can jump out at the pages from you. So yeah, that really impressed me about it. And this isn't, you and Elisa put out a holiday special just the end of last year, correct?
Correct.
Just got a little mini comic.
Yeah, a literal mini comic. So it's a 4-page mini comic for the holiday special. It was an introduction to Michael and to announce Michael versus the babysitters. So it was kind of like a free little comic to announce a bigger comic coming, in 2021. It was great. It was one of my favorite things. We did that after we already almost. No, we didn't finish it. After we already started the actual Cobblestone, Michael versus the Babysitters, we decided, hey, let's go back, let's do these 4 pages real quick, because it was a story I wrote, I think in like 2009, somewhere around there.
Okay.
I was actually guest speaking at a local high school for a creative writing class. And they brought me in to talk about comics and how we write comic books and how the scripts work and what we pay attention to on layouts and how the eye moves in a comic. So if you wanted to write a graphic novel, this is the things to look for when you're writing a script. And this was that 4-page mini comic was the comic I wrote live with this class. So I told them and said, let's talk about what's going on. Let's talk about this. And this is, I would say, here's our main character. We have to introduce them and, the environment and where we are and time of day.
Really walk them through that process of something instead of just discussing it, kind of.
And how to get a payoff, in 4 pages. I mean, there's a lot of 2-page, 4-page comics, that you have to write in these annuals and in, specials that sometimes don't have a payoff, or they go too deep, for such little space, and they don't really work in the world of comics. And so you have to know your timing, your pacing, just like you would, you wouldn't try to do, any movie in, a commercial time. And hence why, like, Avengers, Infinity War and Endgame were 2 movies and not 1 long movie, just for quality. So we went through all that, but that's actually where that story came from. And so I just kind of retooled it with a little bit different names. I had different names on that one, but it worked out perfect for Michael. So yeah, it's the Cobblestone Chronicles Holiday Special. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll put it up in graphics here. If you sign up for David's newsletter, you can snag a digital download of it. Get you that preview of what the Kickstarter you can expect there too. That's still active?
No, I actually think we took that away. I think
it's not. Okay.
I think that was a limited time before the launch of the website. So yeah.
I've been on so many pages of yours. The DavidBarron.co. I think there was like a blog one that was more focused. There was the new web. Yeah, and there was something else too. I don't know. There were a few of them. So. Most of them look pretty current. Like I'd seen a lot of your September posts on your blog, some recent things.
Yeah.
So I hadn't checked yet to see if that was still available as an option.
But because you mentioned it too, if they mentioned that they saw me on this podcast, then just mention, hey, I saw you. You guys mentioned that holiday special. Do you mind sending it to me? Absolutely, I will send it to you. That is not a problem for me whatsoever.
Awesome. Thank you for that, David.
At all.
That's great.
Because I do want people to read it. It's a nice little mini comic. It's 4 pages of fun, and it really does kind of give you the vibe of what the rest of the story. They're not connected by any ways, but the rest of how the book will flow and why it's going to be funny and all the detail. I mean, in those 4 pages, there's already so much detail put in those books. Especially in what people call a YA book. So it's
a real good intro into, so you can get right into the Kickstarter and already know who you're dealing with and what to expect. That's great. So aside from the 72-page graphic novel, what kind of tiers or add-ons are you going to make available for backers, or what can they expect to maybe get in addition to the graphic novel itself?
There's 25 plus tiers. So we have 25
wow.
tiers that really cater to every fantasy you can have as a Kickstarter backer of what you would like to do. So it starts off with just the support backing of $5 that can get you some digital rewards. It goes up to the digital book, to the actual physical book, signed books with doodles in them. We like to call them doodles for this one. There's 2 variant covers. There is your option to have your own variant cover where we can put you on it, whether you want to be more like a teenager or a child by Elisa. There's the option for retailers on there to, we want to support the comic book stores as well, not let them feel that, as a Kickstarter project, we're not appreciative of what they do for the comic book world as well. There is a book in Spanish. It also comes in Spanish. So this book will be translated in Spanish. It's currently translated into Spanish. It is now being lettered in Spanish and proofread to make sure everything is flowing properly. That will definitely be ready by the time the Kickstarter is halfway through. And then, there's a lot of fun art ones. We have 2 variants. One of the variants is draw your own cover. So you can have us draw, a cover for you, or you can just get the variant. There's a color your own cover one. Again, we could color the cover for you as well. But it's just one of those fun things. We really want to be interactive with our audience on this book. We want that the comic book traditional collector to enjoy everything we have, like I am, but we also want to make sure that the younger reader interacts with this book like I used to interact. So one of the tiers that's my favorite tier is the fan club membership. So we actually have a fan club that you can join, and a lot of people, and I'll be building a little bit more what the fan club is. But what the fan club ultimately is, you'll get a membership card, and throughout the year, not only will you get free digital stuff, different items, new art, you'll get secret codes, discount codes to everything that's Cobblestone, but you also get secret prizes that you won't even know throughout the year. I joined Rob Liefeld's back in the day Youngblood fan club. I joined, almost every fan club you can imagine in comics, and had all my little cards, and so you'll get an actual card. There is a digital fan club as well, so you can get a digital card and print it yourself. Those are my favorite tiers, but there's a good amount of ranging from $500 to $1,500. Our ultimate vanity one is where we actually replace a character in the book, and we already have it planned, but we're not telling you who. But we replace one of the characters in the book, and we put you in it, so you can actually be in the book with dialogue where you're actually interacting and talking with Michael in the book, and we Elisa and I fully draw, color, print, and send you the copy of the book with you in it. I'm
sitting here, I'm like I said, I went through the book before we started this meeting. I'm going through the characters. I'm thinking of who had dialogue, and who all came to the door, and who's that's awesome, man. That's a lot of it's nice that you have not only a lot of tiers to offer, the huge spectrum of comic fan that may be interested in this. I like what you're doing with this fan club thing. That that was the thing. A lot of early comics, that was a part of it, like Marvel value stamps. There were, or even the ads in the back that you could cut out and clip things, or there was something in addition to the actual comic that made you feel like a part of it. And Kickstarter is great for that too. You're going to have, it's a great way to interact with the backers, keep in touch with them. They'll comment. It's going to be a fun experience for you. I'm excited for you, man. It's going to be great.
Yeah, I won't lie. I'm nervous. It's a new thing for me. It's really exciting. The nervous is a positive, nervous energy.
Sure.
I am a people pleaser by default. I like to make people happy, and I want people to have a positive experience with my Kickstarter. I think this is part of the reason why I have not jumped into a Kickstarter before with any of my projects, because I want to make sure I can deliver on everything I promise. And one of the things about this book is, as because you read the whole book, it's completely done. It is a fully polished project.
And that's a huge plus for campaigns, especially something brand new, bringing on new new backers to support that. Like, well, is it something going to have to wait a year and a half, and then shipping delays, and then you got to find a new artist, or all these things can happen. That's a big draw and real important. So it should definitely help you out.
Yeah, with Stained, my sci-fi thriller, it's the same way. Before I even approached 451, the whole book was done. Every script, before I even approached an artist, at least the same way, even though we were talking before the script was done, before we pick up a pencil, my scripts are done. And it's very important for me that the artist knows the beginning, middle, and end, and all the key points, so we can build this world, so they know how can we add things, how can we make things more intricate and more, a web of entertainment. And that's what we're always looking for. And Cobblestone was no different. So before Elisa ever, picked up a pen and paper for the Cobblestone Chronicles, she had the whole script, to read first.
That's cool. And definitely help with panel layout and things like that. So and another great thing is we'll give you all the graphics here. You can follow the Cobblestone Chronicles online. Social media accounts are set up over on Facebook at the Cobblestone Chronicles, one word. Over at Twitter, Cobblestone COMX for comics, and then over on IG at _Cobblestone_Chronicles. Now, will those be updated during the campaign?
We will update those. The reason why we did the social medias is we wanted to give people, especially if they were on a younger audience, the ability just to follow this project, that they don't have to worry about, seeing retweets of The Batman Who Laughs or my Swamp Thing book that's coming out with Jeff Lemire and Doug Monkey. They don't have to worry about that cross, or at least parents don't have to worry about the cross exposure. You can just follow Cobblestone. So we will update. It's definitely a slower update, but during the campaign, we will do a good amount of updating on those sites just to let people know the progress of how everything's going. And those areas is a great way to know about any more holiday specials that might be coming out, any little, one-day drops. We have a lot of fun things planned, and to plan it in a random way where we're not going to put ourselves like, on this day, we're doing this comic. It's when it has a great idea and a great message, a lot of fun, we're going to throw it out there and do it. Yeah.
That's awesome. And I think what's nice too, plus having, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, like you mentioned, one of your tiers, a blank cover. If someone wants to do their own artwork, they can start sharing on social media. Here's their, this backer's interpretation or what they took for it. So you can really interact the fans that way and sharing their big tiered package that they arrive in the mail upon fulfillment of the campaign. So that makes nice having those outlets for your backers too.
Yeah, and our Draw Your Own cover is a homage to Gen 13 #1, which could be considered the very first Draw Your Own cover, very first sketch cover. We've had blank covers before. We've had, through DC, some white covers and things like that where people could draw on them. But I believe that Gen 13 #1 is the official, on purpose, Draw Your Own cover book. And I remember Grunge, one of the characters in the book, being right by the image eye saying, "Hey, draw your cover." And we homaged that a little bit, where our Draw Your Own cover that people will see has Michael out there, in his favorite, artist mustache and beret, pretty much saying the same thing. And so, this book is definitely rooted in comics, in comics culture. But it definitely has the ability to pull in people who have never read a comic book before. The book has been reviewed by teachers, by students, stores, other artists and writers. I mean, we had this book reviewed by a lot of people, from the great Frank Quitely from Glasgow, Scotland, to Dr. July Hill Wilkinson, who does teaches high school and is on a board of a charter school that's K through 8. And so, I mean, it's been reviewed by a lot of people because the schools are so important to us, and the way that this book is received by educators as well is meaningful, that we want them to know that it's a positive experience. And we actually, through Comics Alliance, we are also looking for guidance tools. So there's going to be like student guides that go with this book and the future books. So it could be shown in the classroom of how to teach it. And that's part of the reason why we're doing Spanish, which will be the first translation, but we also have French and German. And that way, if you're learning French, German, or Spanish as an English speaker, you could actually take this book into the classroom, and this is the book that the kids can learn as they're reading the book. So they can read the book with their teacher,
Nice.
to learn the language. And then if you are an English learning speaker, you could take the English version. And so it'll have a reading guide for everybody of like, hey, did Michael said this, and this is, how we're doing things.
Yeah, it sounds like you guys really gone all out and reached probably the largest audience you possibly could with all your different options. Hey, if you, like I mentioned early on, you're gonna be able to meet David in person. He's back doing shows, so he'll be attending San Diego Comic-Con special edition, the toned down version, this Thanksgiving weekend, November 26th to 28th. LA Comic-Con December 3rd through 5th, and the final show of the year, Comic-Con Revolution in Ontario, California. Great show. I'll be there December 18th and 19th. So yeah, so get out, support, share the Kickstarter campaign for the Cobblestone Chronicles. Michael versus the Babysitters, running September 27th for 30 days. David, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me and Popco HQ. You guys have such a fun new book. I can't wait to share and get out there. I'm looking forward to this and getting funded real quick.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate the support.
Hey, my pleasure.